Yeah. Oh, there you go. Now you know.
Now I know. Thank you. I feel much more aware. Feel in the loop. In the loop. Okay, so now I have 20 bad boy. 19 bad boy. So do it.
Yeah, so I managed to pull off a truce with France because there was a PU war, which I was just like, oh, fuck it, you can have it. But you know, so we agreed that he took the PU and that put us to peace. And I just immediately knew, oh, okay, it's now time to fucking put Brandenburg back in his place because he didn't want to work with me.
Fair enough.
He's just like, I'm going to annex all of northern Germany. No, mate.
He is taking a lot of the northern.
But he wasn't really interested in that, so.
What'd you say? Manchester or whoever? Someone was talking about.
Yeah, me. I just pointed out that Sahara is taking a very large chunk of the essential trade cities of the Lübeck node. But he is expanding. It's just that it's hard to see because you have the very small nodes, cities.
Yeah, no.
So you don't see it, even though it's a lot of aggro expansion.
I don't think he's doing it as aggressively now as he was at the beginning, though.
Yeah, you're right.
He's like, I've only taken 5 nations. Like, yeah, exactly. And you're attacking another fucking 3 now.
I still don't know what you expect him to do.
Well, just ally
sit
up and I'll
there.
help you fucking take over Scandinavia and Poland. And you can fight Muscovy and whatever. What?
Your expectations are just completely unreasonable. It is very astounding to me.
In his defense, that was basically the expectation Saharas gave me when he was Austria and I was Brandenburg. I was like, let's just do NGF. And he was like, no, the Rhineland is mine. I was like, what? He's like, also, maybe Pfalz, maybe Franken. I was like, fuck off, I need something.
I always just do, if it depends on the player. If it's Mach, I can trust him. See, that's Sahara, he doesn't operate in that way. He's just player, kill. He doesn't know how to work with people.
That's true.
Come to arrangements. With Mach, I can trust him because he's not going to stab me in the back. But I would just do Germanic Brothers, which is what it's one of my options. And then Prussia, you build Prussia up. See, this is the danger. Prussia can turn against you late game and fuck you. But if you can trust him, it's a super good investment because then you'll get a Prussian player with his insanely overpowered military ideas, helping you.
To be fair, though, you and I have cultivated 10 years of trust at this point.
It is true, yeah.
I think I'm the only person who's never fucked you and who you've never fucked.
Yep, it's quite a record.
But my record of not fucking people is pretty good. I'm pretty good about not fucking people across the board, so... But I think you also like having someone in a campaign who you can just 100% depend on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think, part of the incentive in not fucking me, besides our deep, incredible bromance. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just, I think you like to be in a campaign and be like, all right, this guy will not fuck me. I know that for sure. Oh, that. Give me your land, motherfucker. Hey, that won't give me a... That will give me a core. Fine.
I know he said about forming NGF. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I don't think you can literally form NGF, but more just getting the territory that is NGF. Oh, these states want more provinces. Did I give that to the merchant guild? Oh, off of it.
But yeah, things have gone pretty well with me and Daroog working together.
Yep.
It's basically meant that Manchester's had to keep me in check all fucking game. It's like, stop fucking beating up everyone. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking Austria. I can't beat anyone up. What are you on about?
Austria is pretty strong if you hold the Emperor.
Yeah, well, only through AI alliances and such.
I mean, you have like manpower, decent income, you expand the Balkans. You're not a bad country. I think it would be a stretch to imagine
Yeah, but not
yourself
compared
as
to
weak.
France. I got France-England alliance, which is one of the things I had to contend with.
Manchester, what are you playing?
The English.
Yeah.
I'm about to flip, but Outer so far is like I'm
Disappointed in his work thus far.
I'm milling over the prudence of my decisions right now.
Outer's a shifty bastard.
He doesn't really have any plans or clear objectives. It's like, oh, I'll attack this country and murder them.
That's not true.
He's just flopping about endlessly through life.
Mm-hmm.
Be quite clear on keeping the empire, though, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm just fucking securing the empire, that's all.
Soviet Russia, the Empire secures you.
True.
Oh, my general is dank. 442. Let's go. My king, rather, is a dank general. That's my bad boy. Pretty bad. Well, actually, it's not that bad. Minus 37 there.
Come on, Manchester, I've not been that bad.
Sound like you've been pretty bad.
It's been pretty bad so far. I definitely approve of your work with Master Daroog. The wars versus the French, I stand in defense of those actions. The attack Sahara is saying it's pretty dumb. I stand by that position, by my party platform. Because Sahara's was cool. He was just doing his Brandenburg thing up there, being poor, killing OPMs, and now you tried to remove him from the game, which annoys me, because getting all these shits together to even play a multiplayer game is a task in itself. So anyone who prevents that from happening, I really get angry, because I'm the one who actually recruits all these people.
Hey, come on now,
and now
about half the
he was
players.
completely indifferent to you, and now he's aligned himself behind the French. So I'm not sure if this was a good turn of events, but
Well,
Who's playing the French again?
I've been able to keep an eye on his numbers,
dude,
his troop count,
not.
and it's not too strong.
I don't know who he is, so. So what did you attack Saharas for anyway?
Well, you didn't want to work with me, like exactly. I suppose
that
what he
even
asked
mean?
you to do, I asked him to do, which was, yeah, cool. We can ally, and I'll help you expand north and.
This was predicate on him not annexing anything in Germany at all. To add that.
Well,
point.
no, he'd already fucking annexed loads. Like, alright, so he was in the process of attacking another 3 nations.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd already annexed 5 in the NGF area.
Okay, I'm still not seeing the problem. There's like 100, and they're all broke.
Say that again?
I said I'm still not seeing the problem. There's like 100 of those, and they're all broke. Like, you conquer most of NGF. If you don't get Lübeck and Hamburg, you're still gonna be broke as fuck.
Yeah. I explained this to him, that it's the poorest fucking country in the game.
It's so
like, he
brutally
doesn't get
poor.
this.
It's so brutally poor.
Yeah, but I would have quite happily done the fighting for him, like I've done with Daroog.
If you just stopped him
Daroog's
from,
doing all right now, really.
if you just stopped him from what, ever getting any money?
No, I was fine with what he had.
Who was he annexing that was bothering you? Name the countries.
I don't know off the top of my head. He was just moving into,
So this is
you
the
know,
thing, he has no clear
was it Saxony? He
opinion
was
positions.
attacking
What's wrong
at the
with
time.
him attacking Saxony? Saxony's perfectly legitimate Prussian territory. It's not like
but
he was
Saxony
going
had
into.
expanded. It controlled like 5 fucking provinces or something.
No, but if it's in the Saxony area, I still don't see the problem. If it's like in Bavaria, okay, don't take the Bavarian provinces. But just set a boundary with him then, and then say, give him free reign in a section. Hell, you could do what he did to me and tell him he can't even have the Rhineland. He'll still be broke and miserable. I'm just like, telling him he can't expand into Saxony is a bit unreasonable. There's nothing in Saxony is like pretty clear Brandenburg territory.
I think it was Saxony, wasn't it, Manchester?
Fucking England, man. I'm not paying attention. I don't follow what's going on.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the map now. Yeah, it is Saxony. Yeah, he's at war with them, Hesse.
Yep.
And I think Warburg as well.
Würzburg.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a dick, tell him don't annex Würzburg or Hesse. Then you're already being a dick. But attacking Saxony seems unreasonable.
Well, I wasn't trying to fucking annex him or anything. I was just fucking, it's like, you know, trying to get him.
Oh, you're just gonna break them up. Just wanted to break them up. That's all. Just break them up.
Yeah, just give him to release 1 or 2 nations.
Just break them up.
Jesus Christ! You make him release 1 or 2 nations. He's already poorer than sin.
But he made I'd say he made a rather stupid move diplomatically. First antagonizing Austria, or not being at all friendly, and then not having any allies to back up his attitude. So
You're claiming
yeah,
he originally.
I did offer diplomatic overtures.
This is a changed narrative. So let's be clear. All right. Now you're saying he was the aggressor to Austria, not the other way around.
Yeah, you see what I'm doing.
So explain to me how he was being aggressive with Austria. I'm interested. I would love to know and understand.
I recall him saying something along the lines of
I'm going to annex Saxony.
I'm breaking the alliance, and I'm allying other nations to prevent Austria from doing stuff to me. But then he didn't really do that. He allied nothing.
Was this after?
No, I think this was before.
No, it was before, because I had asked him to do certain things.
What did you ask him to do? What had you asked him to do?
I'm gonna have to fucking cancel this alliance.
What did you? Oh, so you canceled the alliance. All right, it's already a change in narrative, and now you're being very ambiguous on what were the things you asked him to do. Did you ask him to get naked and dance for you?
Well, then he was like, you know.
No, let's be clear. You're like, well, I made some ambiguous demands, and then he didn't take them, so he's clearly a dick. But let's put a pin. Let's establish what these demands were. Let's be abundantly clear and direct on the topic at hand.
I
love how he just like razor cuts through the bullshit like a fucking knife. It's hilarious to me. It's so spot on. This was why I immediately joined the war and stopped outer.
What were these specific demands?
It's fucking hilarious and profound.
I've worked worked in business long enough to smell bullshit when I hear it. I'm like, okay, well, you're not gonna gloss over this little element. Like, well, you know, I just said some things, and then he was so unreasonable. What the fuck did you say? So, unless I hear the demands, you don't get the benefit of the doubt on this, Outer. I still think you were being a dick.
I wasn't being that bad, honest.
What were the demands?
Well,
Honest is
I've
a
already told you.
meaningless statement. What were the demands?
It was just like, don't annex all the fucking German miners.
Oh, sorry. So Prussia, don't expand. That's a very reasonable demand. I've never heard a more.
That's not what I said. I said I'd happily help him expand north and west. And,
okay, so
you know,
to be clear,
don't annex all the German miners.
He'd annexed about 5. You're saying so he was Brandenburg plus like Anhalt, Mecklenburg, Pomerania, like a little bit of northeastern Germany. Yeah.
No, he had. I think he was bordering Denmark.
Okay, so he had taken Lüneburg. So he had about 6 ducats of monthly income. And you said to him, okay,
this is true.
a limited section of the DDR, not the full DDR, a limited section of DDR is about your limits in Germany. The rest of it is mine, but I'll make you completely dependent on me to exist. But I'll help you. Don't worry. You can figure out how you're going to invade Denmark somehow. I don't have a navy to back up getting across the island. But the last thing you should do is go into some fairly reasonable expansion in northern Germany. Not the Rhineland, not fucking Bavaria, but like fucking Hanover. Like not even Hanover. It's Saxony. And you're like, no, that is the bridge too far.
It was Hesse, Saxony, and Würzburg.
Yeah, but again, you could say no Würzburg. That's reasonable. You could say no Hesse. It's a bit of a dick move, but you could still do it. But Saxony, you said none of them. There's a difference there.
No, I didn't say none. Like none of them. He did what he did without consulting me. Right after I said that I didn't really want him expanding in those directions.
It's Saxony. You can't. I'm with Saharas, and I rarely am. I'm with Saharas on this.
It's a hard position to take.
I hate being on Sahara's side on anything, but on this one, I'm 100% on Sahara's side. You were overreaching with your imperial authority, 100%. To try and say you cannot go into Saxony is absurd. Like it's already all so broke. It's all so miserable being Brandenburg for the first 300 years of the campaign.
Anyway, so Manchester realized that he couldn't actually do anything to stop me from enforcing my will
from
upon
killing
him.
From killing him.
Your arbitrary domain. Okay, continue.
Yeah. and France.
Arbitrary desire to murder Saharas for no reason.
It worked
for existing as Brandenburg. This is
because
to be clear.
somehow Austria thought the southern border of the starting 4 provinces of Brandenburg was his natural border. Because Brandenburg is so rich and powerful. Oh, you're the worst.
Like, to be honest though, like
if only Saharas had a little more diplomatic skill, because if I was him in that position,
this was a failure of diplomacy on all sides. And then I saw this, and I knew I had to step in, both as England and ultimately as GM.
No, both as England and ultimately as a man. Your honor was at stake, and I respect that. Oh. But seriously, Outer, you're a piece of shit.
He shouldn't have overreached.
He didn't overreach. Saxony is not overreaching. That's the core message.
Hey, I'm the fucking emperor, bitch. Bow down.
God, if I had an Austria that was doing that to me, I would have fucking rallied every nation in the goddamn game against this cunt.
And he did.
He did.
Apparently, he failed to.
Well, he didn't he didn't get me on board.
It was mostly me doing the rhetoric for him.
Yeah, but
he was threatening to quit,
Russia...
so I had to prevent him from quitting.
Because that's the problem
Yeah.
with Saharas is he's too
Yeah.
much of a baby to actually do the proper diplomacy.
In order to prevent him from quitting, I did say that I would blame him for his leaving if he did leave, which compelled him to stay.
So
Then I did
he-
his diplomacy
that
for
was just
him.
because I relented and didn't impose anything upon him.
Didn't you make him release countries
No,
or no?
no, I didn't.
In the end, you did not. Was he able to take some of Saxony?
No.
I didn't stop that war. I don't think so.
Daroog
Possibly.
spoke. Daroog spoke the truth. Your words are no longer needed. Oh my god, you guys are such dicks.
Me?
You know. Mostly you facilitating this nonsense from him earlier.
Hello, I want to keep a strong Austria.
Of course.
He's Catholic.
I'm not sure how Saxony plays into the strong or not strong Austria equation, but
Well, we have one of the centers of Protestantism in Brandenburg.
Yep. Needs to be
That's-
squished.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I can't excommunicate him for it, which is the most annoying part.
Damn, look at that 40 dev Samarkand. That's fucking good.
I can't see
Yeah.
it. But you can, Manchester, you probably can see the 38 dev Tokyo,
I can't
which
see
is...
you. No.
Oh,
Can't even
man.
see China.
Wow, you ignorant as fuck.
Also, let me point out that no one said that it was a friendly game to me. I didn't know what these guys are fucking like.
How many people were in the game?
Good handful.
What is
Six or seven.
6 or 7? That's a friendly game. You can't have a competitive game with 6 or 7 players. Especially not when playing Papal States.
Why is that?
Because there's not enough countries to make it truly competitive. You need a unification against France in the beginning, just to start with.
But France is fucked anyway, so.
Yeah, I managed to
Short term.
stop him.
France is mismanaged.
Yeah. He played his hand. Like, he did have the advantage militarily, but we got him into a pretty disadvantaged battle with
Okay.
where we took slightly lesser forces and then, defeat him anyway, all the same.
So he's incompetent.
Yeah, he's
I think he's
Yeah.
just greedy, actually.
Kind of, I guess. I don't
Maybe.
This is
Manchester.
completely incompetent.
like he went over his infamy, I think, 3 times.
Yeah.
So we get
Yeah.
3 like pan-European
So
coalitions against him.
he's incompetent.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to play the game.
But no, I just I took 2 provinces off of Lorraine, and then 1 off France to just basically the Holy Roman Empire territory.
So what are interesting free countries in that campaign?
I'd love to have you join that game. It'd be fun.
Oh fuck! Well, what time am I flying back on
Very
Sunday?
Sunday.
I'd say you're still interested in it.
What time do you play on Sunday though?
So it's me, England, Gots, Tunisia.
No, what time?
We just did, let me think, when we start is on Sunday. Like
It's
evening.
around the time that my game usually starts,
Yeah,
which is 6 GMT.
So I'm back probably with train rides. I'll be back at 1:30 your time, Manchester.
I think that's when we started. So yeah,
Cool.
yeah, you could up in.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
The Gots, Tunis.
Gots is on Tunis, and Shoggy is in Korea. I think Korea's getting crazy.
Yeah, Shuggy's
Korea.
gonna be the end boss of the campaign, but we'll never fight him because he's on the other side of the planet. But yeah, he's gonna be the
Because
strongest
he's
nation.
farming.
He's conquered like China already. As the Koreans.
Oh,
Yeah,
for him.
I'm just trying to settle things down in Europe, right? And then I'm just gonna start heading towards Alexandria and steamrolling towards Asia.
So
That's
who's
the plan.
playing what? So we have Daroog in Italy, Sahara's in. So we have 4 I know of in Europe. So there's a 5th, Muscovy, I guess, or what?
He comes back, but there was, yeah.
Okay. And then Shaggy playing China. Oof. Oof. What year is it?
I think it's early. Reformation just fired.
Go ahead, 1550, I think that triggers.
He's already taking China? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he did all that cheesy shit with swapping culture and stuff as well.
No, I mean, like, for a competitive campaign, that's fine. You do Korea and Manchu, that is, like, the best way to min-max it. It's just, if you're playing, like, a for fun game, it's just a little, like, meh, you know what I mean? It just doesn't feel good.
I'm just gonna roll with that sort of play with Guts and Shuggy.
I know. Like, I would do it in a competitive campaign for sure, but it's just like, it's just, I was talking about this earlier, right? Just to me, it just feels unsatisfying, the idea of, like, Korea to Manchu to China. Just feels weird. Korea! What I'm thinking on this Japan game, though, is I'm gonna conquer Korea, right? And then I'm gonna culture convert the whole goddamn thing, so we're just over that problem. You are all Japanese now. Probably worth abdicating if I'm going from a 7 to a 13, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if I get him at 15 years old, that's pretty dope. What illegal war inside Realm? What is that modifier? What illegal war did I commit inside Realm? Alright, I think I'm just gonna.
So what are you thinking as jumping on as?
No idea. Maybe Spain. Why not, right?
Spain's pretty fucked up.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. I think
Ottomans.
Aragon's actually not so bad there. France allied Aragon, and the Ottomans for like ages, and just gobbled up most of Spain.
Well, if France owns most of Spain, it's not really that interesting for me.
He doesn't.
He doesn't own them, he's just allied with Aragon.
I like being a chill Muslim who doesn't convert anybody. It's kind of cool.
Keeping it low key.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Maybe I could become, what's it called? Like that religion that's a mix of, like, Hinduism and Islam. The fuck am I on about? Like, everyone always confuses them. Sikh, yeah. Maybe I can become Sikh. That'd be cool.
Can you actually do that?
Yeah. Have to wait for it to pop. I don't see it yet.
Is it a mix of Hinduism and Islam? Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Huh, didn't know that.
You could play Poland, I suppose.
I'm morally opposed to that.
Why is that?
The Polish.
It would make me sad to see it that Ottomans or Mamluks are probably both in a pretty reasonable position.
I don't know if I'm keen on an Ottoman player. Even if it's Mach. I just don't like player Ottomans. This Ottoman's fucking gay as shit.
They are pretty gay. I'm not gonna fight you on that particular idea.
I may have built twice over my force limit thinking I could immediately declare war, but then Realized I
Discovered you
was
could not.
in the Regency Council for another 5 years.
Oh, oh. That is a lot of money down the drain, homie. That feels pretty
It's not a
bad.
good feeling. I've already spent all the manpower, so I'm like, ah, shit. Can't delete the manpower because it would take 20 years to get it back. Realized my mistake. Too late.
Oh yeah, you guys are playing against each other, aren't you?
What? No, we're not.
Oh, you're playing in the same game, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm playing against. We're playing in tandem. We've each got our very clear, predefined little empires, and we're working on it. Beautiful. My empire is Japan, Korea, Manchuria, China.
Mine is Europe and Persia.
Oh,
So,
exactly.
so Mac, how far would you let Sahara's expand?
I'd give him Saxony. I would, given the exact inverse dynamic that I've had with him years ago that I remember very distinctly, I would not let him have the Rhineland. But I've also played Brandenburg, so I'm aware how brutally poor it is. And on those grounds, I would probably hook him up with, like, letting him have Saxony, most of, like, Hanover and stuff.
He's gonna quit if I try and force him to accept being Catholic, isn't he?
No, I think he'd accept that. I don't know if you can force that. Maybe with Daroog there you could do it.
Was what?
If Daroog is there, you might be able to win the religious war. Daroog isn't there, you're not going to be able to do it though.
Yeah.
Religious war, that would be for Catholicism in the Empire.
Yeah, Catholic history.
Yeah, sure. I'm all for it.
It's weird though if you think about it, because like if you win and you make them all Catholic, and you get more competitors for the Curia, which is sort of shit. I don't know. It's a weird system.
But you got more men of the faith.
I can excommunicate them.
Not that worried about that. Yeah, more points for the Empire ticker. Because he's been so aggressive in the north, he like most of the miners are sitting at the east. So I've been sitting at like plus 0.2 for like huge quantity of the game. We've got like the first two institutes passed. I'm working on the third now. I'm pretty sure it's impossible to get that developed.
Oh, priesthood like me. I don't know how I feel about this. They're like super happy. They're super happy with me.
They're gonna start touching you soon.
Oh.
Be careful.
Goodness.
Priesthood is known to do that from time to time, after all. I shouldn't say this, you're a Catholic school teacher.
Amazing.
It's amazing. Okay.
It's nice that they don't have like a faith test for you, you know? They're like, oh, are you Christian?
Nominally. I don't know what answer to give.
Practically no, not so much. but
Practically no.
I say it for posterity. Oh, what a great and glorious swaggy we're developing here. It's a shame none of you can see me. I'm just expanding in mystery. Also, if any of you are ever considering doing a Japan campaign, never do the Ashikaga. I did it successfully, but maintaining the shogunate is like absolutely vile. It's such a bad time. It's just not worth it. It is much more fun and probably faster if you do it as a daimyo. And much less stressful. Holy shit.
Well, that was bad. Really fucking bad. Okay.
What's happened to you, honey?
I had a few bad rolls and almost wiped my entire army.
Ooh, that is bad.
Almost. I'm alright.
That is thoroughly bad. I will concede.
It translates into a lot of lost money.
Right back.
Damn, this money does.
Manchester's question. What is the deal with you always playing fucking England?
What do you mean? I never play England. I usually play.
Every time you're in a fucking game with me, you always seem to pick England.
I haven't played a game with you in like 20 years. Usually
That's
I play
not
in.
accurate.
I play Germany or some German state. These guys are fucking assholes. This is stupid AI. A bunch of little shits. Fucking unbelievable. It's the way they fight. It's just irritating. It's enraging me.
Does the AI never have fucking rebels in their colonies?
They get a bonus to not get them. Because the AI is inept and they couldn't figure out how to suppress them effectively, so they give them like they cheat on the native uprisings.
That's annoying as fuck.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Hi, friends. Wait, what the fuck? I can only have 5 states? For real? Holy shit, I didn't realize that. It's awful.
I love leaving an ADA in the shit like this. Look at our jump.
Can't see it. I don't know.
So Ajam was in between the Timurids and Kara Koyunlu.
Yeah.
They declared on Timurids, inviting me, and of course I joined. I almost lost my entire army to the Timurids. But then I backed off and white pieced the Timurids, and Ajam had meanwhile been invaded by Kara, and I declined that invitation, of course.
Yeah, that's basically what happened to me when I played Ajam one time, the first time. It went better the second time, but it was just frustrating because foreign Persia was super rich and still was unable to achieve anything. And I was like, that is FBM. The aggressive expand.
Oh, jump. Oh.
I want to be honest with you guys. People are just not very happy with me right now.
It's not true. I'm extremely happy with you.
Oh, honey, you're too cute. Why is my maximum number of states 5? That's fucking atrocious.
It's because you're a daimyo? I don't know.
Must be. What is your
Yeah.
maximum number of states?
12.
Oh yeah, it must be daimyo then. Yeah, it must be daimyo. Kinda wish I'd made one of these provinces. Not a what's it called? A state? Tohoku. Eastern Kanto. Well, Eastern Kanto I can unify. What is Tohoku? Who the fuck is Tohoku? There. Yeah, but that'll be better once I unify as well. Okay. Huh.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Not again. Yeah, oh, for fuck's sake.
Things are going well, I take it.
Sounds like they're going very well for Daroog.
They sound ideal.
GG.
You just get killed.
Yeah, I was reinforcing across a
No, but like permanently killed or like.
No, I can probably survive, sort of. And I yield. I yield.
It's been fun playing with you, Daroog.
So first I stacked wiped in. I was stacked wiped in 3 or 4 turns.
The dream.
With one of the armies across straits, and then my second army reinforcing justice died too.
The dream.
Yeah, that is the dream, isn't it?
All I'm hearing is you're just living the dream right now, so I don't know why you're complaining, to be real.
Okay. What do I do? Let's see. Uzbek. This Uzbek is also losing massively. I'll just have to sit back and build up an army and kill them. Easy.
There was an attempted coup. Motherfucker.
Loans, here I come. Create an army for our nation. Here we go. Nice. Loans. How we do it? 4 loans.
Give me the loot.
Yeah. Loan, and now I can tech up to the next military level too. Now you die. Time to debase. Base currency, yes.
I'm just never gonna not be annoyed by the fact that they don't have to follow the 4 rules. It's just never not gonna fill me with fucking rage. It's like, oh, now I have to walk all the way around, and he's just gonna fucking. He can just walk wherever he wants, but I have to walk all the way to the other side of his country in order to chase his fucking retard stack. Unbelievable.
It's especially bad in India, I think. Because of just the amount of... I think it's...
The amount of what?
I think it's just the amount of, like, open space. That they can get access in weird ways, like easily between your friends and their friends, and then it just results in the 4 rule being violated constantly. I remember that playing in India, feeling like in India more than most other places, the 4 rule is just fucking retarded. Like in Europe, you could kind of have choke points and stuff where you could build forts around, but in India, it's always just a shit show.
Stack wipe.
Yours or theirs?
No. I'll have to stack wipe them. Still upset about the stack wipe.
Still not clear if it was his wipe stack or their wipe who was stacked.
Nice. I died.
You died. You're in trouble, is what I'm hearing.
Oh, I'm fucking up.
What are you playing as, Daroog?
Transoxiana.
It's like Northern Timurids.
Samarkand looted, 75 devastation.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, gain 250 ducats. Lose 2. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I'll do that. Oh, sack of Samarkand. Some bastard is sacking Samarkand.
Did you deserve it?
I'm sacking Samarkand.
That's the real question. Did you deserve it?
Why am I sacking Samarkand?
What? Oh, you've lost 2 development there. That's so sad.
That is sad,
That
isn't
was
it?
like your beacon torch of civilization out there. Now it's 2 levels lower. I'm shedding like a tear.
Single tear rolls down Manchester's face.
Such an asshole. Oh, Manchester, I'm not even in the game.
Why is Manchester an asshole?
Just kicking him when he's down.
No, I think he was being sincere.
I don't know what I was
I know.
beating. It was pretty fucking ambiguous.
Here we go.
It's the
Here we
issue
go,
with
boys.
me, ambiguity.
I'm sure one of the
Go.
statements is
Zero,
accurate.
zero. I'm rolling zeros again.
Well, maybe I just take you with
No, he's rolling 9s. What? I just won.
Congrats.
Uh,
You should probably just defend mountains. Or forts and mountains.
yeah, that's could be a thing, but I am unfortunately sieged, and I need to retake my land.
Is the land where the siege is occurring? So only care about forts. I know this drives Manchester fucking nuts, and he always gets annoyed. But he started to listen to it, and I think he started to see the value in it.
They have forts. They have forts. They're taking
So-
my forts.
So attack the forts you have in mountains.
They are in desert and mountain.
So attack the one in the mountain, and then you will win that battle if you're evenly matched, or even close to evenly matched, because you will get the land modifier bonus, terrain modifier bonus.
Even if it's their fort?
Yes. No. If they're attacking your fort, so if they're sieging your fort.
No, they are sieging my fort, but if
Yes.
they've already taken the fort, and
Oh,
I'm
so you
attacking
fucked
to
up.
retake.
You fucked up then.
Yeah, I got stack wiped.
No, it's only if you still control the fort that you get the terrain bonus. Otherwise, they do. So don't attack them in the mountain. Attack them in the desert.
I'm not attacking in the mountains. I'm attacking in drylands.
That's fine. And then wait till they move away from the mountain, and then take the mountain back,
We are on the same page.
and then kill them in the mountain.
Kill
should've done it in
them.
the first
Kill
place.
them in the mountain.
Wait till they see. That's what I do with the AI. Basically, I'm like, where do I have a fort with good terrain? Here. Okay. Next step, wait for them to attack said fort with good terrain. Cool. Accomplished. Okay. Kill them. Works every time. I just ignore everything else. Or I take their forts in the mountains while they're attacking me and sieging my meaningless provinces that have no forts. And then Manchester goes insane.
Why does Manchester go insane?
Well,
Okay, I've lost. I think. Yeah, I lost this guy.
you're gonna put up that unconditional surrender, see what happens?
Alright, maybe I can pull out.
So are you fighting just the Timurids?
No, I'm fighting the Uzbeks.
Oh. You attack them or did they attack you?
I attacked their ally, Khorasan, and I should have been fine had I not been absolutely demolished.
I
What?
did not horribly mismanage the war effort.
Yeah, I probably should have murked up a lot earlier. Had I known.
Well, talk to Khorasan. Khorasan's the war leader. Maybe do you still occupy Khorasan?
No, I'm not. I need to get forts to actually. I need to siege down my own forts to get to their fort.
Okay, so you should probably see what kind of peace you can get. Negotiate with Khorasan on Uzbek, because you might be able to get more out of Khorasan. Like, we'll get less out of Khorasan, rather. Get them to get less out of you. Why am I losing money right now? What the fuck?
Okay, so they want my entire land. That's it.
They want everything.
Yeah.
Not ideal. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, I'm not going to give them everything.
Why? Why did I just go completely broke?
trade node somewhere?
Sometimes you just lose the game.
Sometimes shit goes sideways.
Why am I? This is really. My army maintenance is on. What the fuck? And my
Boys, another one.
force
Another
levels
round.
went down too. Fuck just happened? This is the strangest thing.
GG, boys, GG.
Sorry, buddy.
Whoops. This is when you save scum.
Do you want to switch country?
Actually rather late, as I'm thinking of going to bed actually.
There's some.
This is the greatest Khorasan of all time.
Are you just like dead? Dead? Do you lose Samarkand?
No, but I lost my other great province.
You're not dead.
I'm
Manchester.
Let's see. Oh, he's lost like half his country. Yeah, he took half his lands. It's pretty bad.
But he has Samarkand, which means he's still a power.
Hmm.
Development alone.
I'm trying to deal with my own fucking annoying, frustrating war right now, so can't really analyze the
No, it's fine.
situation.
It's
right
fine. I'll if you continue this, I'll just hop on to something else if I'm also nearby.
Okay. Link digital. What the fuck? What? My. So fucking weird. Like, my whole economic situation just got super dire with literally no explanation.
Gold mine collapse.
Oh, interesting. Do I own gold? I know there's gold in Japan. Is there gold in Japan? I thought there was gold in Japan. No, there's no gold in Japan. So no,
There is
not
gold in
gold.
Japan.
Where is the gold in Japan?
Look at the fucking trade map.
In the middle.
There used to be gold in Japan. And I'm literally looking at the map now, and I think the gold provinces got changed to paper.
Oh, maybe you're right.
I'm looking right
Paper's
now.
kind
And
of better.
I found iron.
Mhm.
I found copper, but there is no gold. Alright, there's a gold province in China. I've clicked on gold, nothing lights up yellow. I can confirm there is no longer gold in Japan. This is very strange though, because like I was in really good financial shape, and suddenly I was not. And I really can't find a reason for it.
Are you giving subsidies to people?
No, I'm not rich enough for that shit. Very strange.
Oh, I
Very,
hate
very
I
strange.
hate the AI's faggy alliances. It's so fucking gay.
Yeah, it was pretty awful.
That's the issue with India, like, usually, is you have to fight two of the big ones at the same time.
Oh,
When you hit,
fuck.
like, the 4th decade or so. It's like I take a white piece now, but he doesn't want to. So now if I have to sit here and do it, I kind of want to take land off him. I don't know. It's just typical EU4 AI rationale.
Yeah. Like, this is a war I can't win, but I believe. And you're like, should you? Should you believe? I'm not sure you should. They do anyway. They always do.
What's your guys' ideal governments
Like in real life or in the video game?
in EU4?
Dutch Republic, I think, is really good.
Dutch Republic because it's Dutch.
No, because it gives you the most monarch points. Any Republican one is usually fairly good.
No, I mean, republics in general are the
Yeah.
best. But I was just making a joke about being Dutch. That was happening there.
I did get that. Didn't go over my head. People did invent many things, like publicly traded company and securitization of assets and legalized prostitution.
Yep, you're welcome.
I wanted to do it as a list of 3.
Yeah, I wonder where legalized prostitution first, Las Vegas or the Dutch?
Probably the Romans, or the Greeks, or the Egyptians, or the Sumerians. When the illegalization of prostitution mostly just came with, all of that fucking nonsense sand Jew religion stuff.
I love his like own version of like referring to the Judeo-Christian tradition.
Sand Jew. It's not wrong though. It's one of the more accurate descriptions I like to think of the Judeo-Christian tradition is Sand Jew.
Fucking hysterical.
Before that, we had like these great traditions. You had like the Dionysus cult, where it was like, we'll go to our primal nature by getting really fucked up and fucking each other. And like, that's holy. And I'm like, yeah, that's a religion I can get behind. Or then Valhalla, where they're like, the afterlife is we just drink, fuck, and fight just over and over. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can get behind that. And it's like, no, the one we've all chosen to follow is with this one really possessive guy. Like, he's super possessive. And he cares so much. He's like, you cannot love anyone but me, and I will fucking burn you if you do, but I love you and I forgive you for all of your problems. He's like a really abusive boyfriend, basically. Like, that's the one we all went with. We were like, no, fuck the drinking and fucking cult, and fuck the drinking, fucking, and fighting cult. We're going with the one possessive dick. Okay, that's what we did as a society. This is how I feel about religion.
Sounds about right.
Whenever I go to fight, the left one, the right one just runs away. Whenever I go to fight the right one, the left one runs away. Super annoying.
Mm-hmm. Play around forts, baby. That's it. I don't even fight stuff anymore. I just attack at forts or siege forts, or then attack at my own forts.
Well, he's attacking me is the thing, so it's like I have to win the battles.
Bengal and Gujarat. Bengal, Gujarat. So who's the leader? Bengal?
Bengalis.
So just give up your eastern front, let him siege all that shit, and push super hard in Gujarat so you knock Gujarat out of the war, and then go back, de-siege, and kill Bengal.
Oh, he's hidden behind a fort.
Yeah, take the fort. Doesn't
Fucking
matter.
faggot.
Give up your forts in the east. Just fully commit to Gujarat. Take as much of that as you can. Get access through Malwa if you can. And then once you've knocked Gujarat out of the war, recommit. Lose half your country if you have to. Recommit east and fuck up Bengal. That's the way to do with the AI. You just have to be like, all right, I'm gonna lose half my country here, but it's fine because I have an end goal. I learned a lot from my Iron Man campaigns. Alright, let's go beat up Ella again. These cunts. I keep forgetting I have a fucking truce. Hello?
Yeah.
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 Jawohl.
Yes, Queen.
$700 gold. That's how much these shits have made me have to spend. 5 corruption.
I love how. Oh, fuck. I lost my leader. Whoops. I love how fast, though, like, I declared war and immediately the game was like, oh no, we're peacing. Don't worry. We're good. Okay. Cool. Wow, my ally hit me with a diplomatic insult? That feels not so
So do you guys have a preferred country
For what?
in this game that you just find yourself playing often?
I mean, I'd probably say my overall history of EU, my numero uno has always probably Brandenburg, Prussia, but EU4 lately, it's just so brutal to play.
Milan. I like Milan a lot.
Milan is definitely up. I actually agree with Manchester there. Milan is absolutely fabulous to play. I think Milan right now in the state of the game is probably one of the most fun and satisfying campaigns to do.
Yeah, they are. They are pretty strong.
I would like to do Netherlands, but the start date is just gonna have to deal with getting out from under Brandenburg. I don't think who else. I enjoyed Japan campaigns a lot. Why can't I march to this fucking province? Oh. Port rule. Wait. Okay.
Oh, Bengal, what an unexpected turn of events. I bet you weren't anticipating this outcome. Fucking little piece of shit. See, I can't take glee in causing harm or injury to the AI because it's just a fucking computer program. Like, the amount of emotional effect it has upon me, I just can never make it feel in return.
That's fun. I have a very different perspective. When I have like a very loyal AI that I have to murder later, I always feel super guilty. I'm always like, oh, the AI has been so good and loyal to me. I can't believe I'm gonna fuck it. Oh, I feel so bad. Fuck. Fuck, 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 fuck. I so don't regret abdicating for this kid. Message, have you done a daimyo campaign before?
No, I don't think so.
I don't remember it because I've got a bunch of allies. If I declare war and take the shogunate, how that works. I'm probably better off just fucking annexing all these little bastards. Why the fuck do the estates? What the fuck? How did they get control of this? That's where all my money went. Gee. Somehow at some point the estates got control of Tokyo, which is where all my money went.
Oh, it's not a good time.
The clergy, the most useless to the states. And
Well, they don't penalize the tax, though. Is it high tax, or what is it?
it's 16
Production.
16 production, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Must have been an event. Maybe when you were smoking.
Yeah, or maybe just one of these events that I didn't read all the way. I just looked at the balance and it's like, oh, this seems like a good idea. Like how the traders got a hold of Ichigo, which I'm like, yeah, sure. That actually is one I'd rather give to the clergy. Give Tokyo to the states, but or to the trade merchants, if any.
Well, this war against Bengal was very unpleasant, but they were my most dangerous foe, and now they are no more.
Did you do what I suggested? Did you beat up Gujarat and then beat them
No,
up, or did you go straight for them?
I just endured long enough that I white piece Gujarat out, and then I just
Okay.
took out Bengal. Well, Bengal is the bigger foe, so I wanted to take their stuff.
Fair enough.
And if I can get this Bengali trade, it's pretty awesome.
That is some dank trade, I won't lie.
Yep, Bengal is where the trade is at.
Shut up, you don't play this game.
I mindless, thank you very much.
Oh, my air kind of sucks again, but it's fine. My king's 28, so unless he lives like I do, he's got a long life ahead of him.
Can't you just disinherit the heir?
He's not that bad. He's not disinherit worthy. He's just like not great. You know what I mean? He's 8 overall, so middle of the pack.
what would you consider the point where you benefit from the disinheriting?
Probably. I think I tend towards abdication over disinheritance, but if I saw someone who was like maybe less than a 6 and young, like if I had a just born less than a 6 on a 35-year-old or older king, I'd probably be like, all right, he out.
You have to kind of weigh the pros and
Yeah.
cons, because then like losing prestige is good because it gives you like the improved relations thing, so you lose that. Lose legitimacy.
You may not
which
get another
can,
heir.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can go heirless, which is worse.
It's
I like
tough.
they added that, which they should, because the monarch point system is retarded.
No, so disinherit, like you don't lose legitimacy if you disinherit. It's only a 50 prestige hit, but the question is mostly like, how long will this guy rule and how terrible is he? So if you go lower to 0 overall, right? It's like a 0-0-0 being the bottom. I don't think that, does that exist? Maybe it does.
Probably.
Being the bottom, like I would probably disinherit that under any circumstances. You get to like a 1-2-1. I'm like, how old is my current king versus him, right? Because if my king is 15 and he's 0, I might ride that wave and then just see what happens with his heir, because maybe he has an heir that's like 15 and awesome, and I just abdicate him, right?
Do you not like one of the things I typically do is if I want to get rid of a king, just promote him to a commander and then make sure he's front line.
I do that, but it doesn't really work that often, I find, anymore.
I don't know. Still think it's relatively.
I mean,
It happens occasionally. It's not hugely reliable, but it does.
Sure, ideally that works, then great. But I've just found it doesn't work reliably enough for me. Manchester, if you had to pick one administrative idea group, your first idea group, what would you pick?
So I've gone eco as John Per, and then that's partially that's because I know I have to start every institution here, so the minus 20% closer I think is going to be good.
I might actually go Diplo and then just do diplomatic ideas, right? That's the humanist, or is it humanist diplomatic? Yeah. Improve relations 30%.
Yeah,
oh,
it's very good as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll do
One thing I've
humanist in
learned,
the first group.
actually just playing this with you as India, is this 2 separate infamy systems, one for the Hindu states and one for the Muslims, which is kind of interesting.
Well, so what it is it's that if you attack, it's the same as any, like that basically within religious groups, they get pissed off. So if you attack the Hindus, the Muslims don't really give a shit. If you attack the Muslims, the Hindus don't really give a shit. Are you going to capitulate to Hindu, or are you going to try and send that?
No, I'm going to form it as, what's it called? Hindustan, right, so Muslim. Then I may try to flip Sikh. I don't think Sikh gets unique mechanics, though, which is, I don't know.
It's very hard to become Sikh. Probably part of that.
But the Sikh just inherently get 10% off Miltech, 10% to morale, plus the novelty of being Sikh.
Fuck, I actually regret going humanist over Diplo first. That was very dumb of me. Well, I have another idea group. Yeah, it's a Diplo. And then the third one will be the expansion.
Go try and pick up a baddie. Probably butchering however it's meant to be pronounced, but
that's extremely hard to get. I'd have to goods produced plus 10%. I don't know if that's really worth it to go buy 10% more goods production.
Yeah, but you've got the unique mechanic then, so you can get
so to become a body, I'd have to get those religious rebels
or reduced technology costs, or the missionary strength, morale of army, and fort defense.
I like how he's talking like he knows better than you.
Well, that's he doesn't know that those are the mechanics for all Muslims, though.
Come on, Manchester was thoroughly pleased having me playing again.
It is
Don't
true.
ruin this.
I did say that. I did say I was pleased.
I just have sometimes I have fun dropping a little shit talking bomb into the middle of. It was funny. Was it not funny? I felt like it was pretty funny.
Hurt my feelings, bro.
I did not hurt anything. What are these feelings you have? You have these.
but still, like, fucking India under that with the goods produced, because you've got so many high trade value stuff.
Yeah, that might actually be a point. Well, maybe if it has like an end thing to go for after
Yeah, whatever,
unifying
whatever.
India. Might be a plan.
But it's just like that crystal province, man. You can boost it up to like 50 trade value. It's ridiculous. So you stick the whatever it is that adds an additional production, like one extra production on it.
God, humanist is fabulous, but like to get the good shit, you have to really get to the end. If you're a one religion state, anyway. You know, if you're fucking just straight up Shinto up and down, it's just like, oh, I have to really push through.
How many
Well, I
cultures
do
in
expert.
Japan? There's only one, right?
There's like 3, I think, but you know, I mean, it's not. I would promote Korean. Maybe Korean and then Manchu. Then.
You could accept the Chinese when you conquer China.
Exactly. I think maybe also doing exploration as the other idea group is interesting because then I can start doing Taiwan and shit. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna do exploration as you do group 2. And idea group 3 will be maybe something military. Oh shit. I lost my improved relations advisor.
Also, what DLC gives you like merchant houses or whatever it is?
Cossacks? The estates, you mean?
No, I don't think it's the states. It's the thing that basically allows you to set up what are they called? Like, as I said, like merchant leagues, etc.
Oh, I have no idea anymore.
And is that worth getting?
They're all worth getting, friend.
They're not though.
They're not though, but they are all worth getting because for the passion we should.
He's cutting out, but I think he's making condescending comments about Paradox as a company. That's what I'm guessing.
No, that is correct. That is exactly what I'm doing. Thank you, Father. Oh shit. What the fuck?
I still can't see you, so I can't follow these exciting developments.
Well, no, it's just my money. It disappears.
Hmm.
I actually regret doing colonialism now. Yeah, the trade looks fine. I don't know. It's very strange. I regret doing colonialism though because it turns out I don't have the money for that. So I'm trying to do it, but then I'm like, oh, but I actually cannot financially afford.
Oh, exploration ideas?
Well, I did exploration as a second group, yeah.
Oh.
But I realized I can't afford colonies until I've unified Japan.
Yeah, they do get a little bit expensive.
They're
You could,
ridiculously.
Just pick up like Taiwan.
That's what I was
Stop
trying to
there,
do.
maybe.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do, but the point is getting the Taiwan to begin with is like insanely expensive for me. When I don't have Japan unified, because I pay like out of the asshole and being a vassal. I gotta finish Japan before I do that. Fine. I'm allied with enough of these guys that I'm actually just considering like just taking on the bad boy. Being like, alright, what's left can unify against me.
It's the way to be. Just brutalize them over and over.
What I'm doing. What I'm working on anyway.
It's nice when you get like buckets of ducats and you can afford colonizing shitloads of land.
Yeah, but that doesn't come until I've unified the nip slip.
Sadly, they're not called ducats anymore. They're called treasury.
They're called buckets of ducks.
That's true. Like, there will always be ducats as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And to be rich is to have buckets of ducats.
Buckets of ducats.
I'm wondering.
It's like it's a citizen.
It is.
So
That is an
that's what
OG.
we call that.
It's an OG citizen.
The city is the source of many of our things that we say. Like when I greet people now, I go, "Hey."
Hey.
Like sit off me. It's taking it from the funds, but still, nonetheless.
Nonetheless,
It is a citizen.
it remains.
Another one.
It remains a citizen. It will forever be. Thinking if I just literally like make myself the shogun now. Maybe not. Maybe I just keep beating these guys up and make everyone hate me, but not give a shit anymore. I think I'm getting to the edge of like large enough where I can just be like, meh. Meh. Hate me, bro. See what I care. Maybe I'm not quite there. Close though.
Fucking tropical modifier. 15 15% extra dev cost.
Also, look at some of these daimyos owe me so many fuck favors, it's ridiculous.
Is that system even worth it as well?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Also, the other nice thing with the baddie is the 100% air chance. Just,
When you got a harem, you know?
yeah, it's excellent, man. It's the way to be, apparently.
You gotta
You want
pay
your
for that
living wage
harem.
to survive.
You got a harem. You gotta pay for that harem, bro.
Yep. You gotta fucking work those sons hard. That's why they produce so much.
Work those hoes hard.
Yep. Something like that.
Did I just do it? I think I just do it.
Do what?
I think I just start like racking up bad boy, making everyone hate me.
Do it. Stop pushing it out, man.
I think I might be at that point in the game.
I mean, seriously. Don't understand why this is still a thing.
Agreed.
Stupid bastards. Still fucking 11 trade on that fucking node.
Although I guess who's left to hate me? It's literally two guys who are left to hate me, so. Fairly acceptable. Feels like acceptable losses to me. Guys left to hate. Who's gonna hit me? Everyone already hates me. Fine. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll annex him. We'll annex the other guy. We'll annex what's left. Like, unified Japan. It actually may have taken longer than it did for me with Ashikaga. I guess financially it's tougher.
Heh. I don't know how, but I have 100% religious unity. It's weird. I don't know how that's a thing, though.
Do you have one of the idea groups that's humanist?
No. So I remember I was getting a penalty before, so I'm not sure what's changed.
Maybe one of the trades, like incense or something?
I haven't converted a single freaking province to Islam since the game began.
Oh, okay. Maybe they just all don't.
Well,
hate
I
you,
mean, this
whatever.
is, like, I do get a +3 tolerance thing, because I'm, what's it called?
Yeah. Does
Guess
that
who's back?
give religious unity if you're tolerant of all your religions?
Maybe. Maybe it's because I'm positive, like I'm literally green. I have +2 acceptance right now. Or maybe it's because the Dhimmi are happy and it's making me green with them. Oh, that's pretty neat if that's the cause.
So you're Muslim now?
I was Muslim from the beginning.
Oh, right. I thought you were Hindu.
No, his country's Hindu. He's Muslim.
Ah.
Guess who's back? Back again. Clergy's back. Tell a friend. Oh, fucking clergy cunts.
Ah, yes, the clergy.
They always want more, don't they? Like we
The
can be
clergy.
yeah.
Right now, they're rather cocky, though, I'd say.
I don't know what clergy you're dealing with, but it's not the same as mine. I'll tell you that right
Are you
now.
here, Daroog? I thought you went to bed. I'm gonna rehost.
No, it's fine. I'm just quietly playing a game. I'll go to bed any minute. Probably.
Rip. Oh fuck, I accidentally canceled making a core. Oh, the clergy want more. Ouchi broke their alliance with us. Why?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's from being green with the with your pops. I think that's
What?
pretty neat. So if you get to green tolerance level, like not yellow but green, then it gives you religious unity, which is pretty okay.
Really, that's a good change. You can actually play humanist then in a.
Well, it gets rid of
Right.
the. I assume this gets rid of the stab cost, like penalty, which is pretty okay.
Alright, time to piss everyone off. The end of days. That's the new plan. I think now is when I literally just start running over the.
Hey, Manchester. Guess what, by the way?
Yeah.
So, you're aware I went back to uni, yeah?
No.
Okay. So there was voluntary redundancies in my work, which I took. It was a nice payout, and I've just decided to go back to university.
Okay.
Doing computer application development. So just basically a bachelor's degree in just computer programming, effectively.
Do you have a bachelor's degree already or no?
No, I didn't. I got a BTech. I've worked in IT for fucking ages as well, but I was struggling because I couldn't get into like any senior role because they all required fucking degrees.
Ridiculous.
So I was thinking about doing it for a little while.
I don't know. I have a
Yeah, but I'm absolutely fucking killing it. I've got 4 distinctions and a merit so far.
Nice. I don't know though, like, I have a master's, I don't regret getting it.
Do you say you don't?
No, do not regret it. Well, Daroog was like ridiculous, and I was just saying, I don't know. There's definitely value in having that education. For me, anyway.
With computer programming, and specifically just to have time to develop a skill set, like there's money in it. I know there's money in it. Senior programmers or senior DBA, etc.
Yeah, sure.
Good money.
Sure. It's what's it called? Practical, applied phrase for it. I'm losing it though.
Yeah, pretty much.
Your soul, though, you need to consider the state of your soul.
What are you saying?
You need to
What does that
consider
mean,
the
though?
state of your soul.
My soul's fine. Fucked up as it ever was.
Well, in that case.
Is going to school destroy your soul?
Sometimes it can.
You
Does it?
spend too much time watching Silicon Valley.
But,
Be careful.
one of the reasons why I wanted to go back to university was to develop my skill sets so I could do projects and develop things that I wanted to, whatever ideas I had.
Yep.
Um,
Makes sense. Dude, I'm not judging you. I don't know, Daroog is the one making judgments, I think.
I'm not
University.
judging.
No, you're just saying it destroys the soul. It's not
No,
judgmental
it
at all.
could. It could. It depends on what type of education and where you do it.
but one of my clients that I've done web work before, he's approached me for another website, but also he wants me as another project to develop some software for him. And it seemed really interesting. He's an auditor by trade, works in the avionics industry, so he keeps track of basically tool calibrations. And he wants me to write some software to make that efficient.
Cool.
Yeah, he reckons he can sell it all day long if it was any good.
Sounds stable to me.
So the last couple of weeks, I've been putting together a team of master degree students and a PhD degree student to work on a project. It's kind of funny going in as a first year, speaking to the lecturers, and like, yeah, it's fucking, let's get these guys involved. And like, yeah. So I'll be doing a brief in May to a team of students. It's quite interesting though. I'm going to develop it in C#.
Soviet Russia, C# develops you.
Yes.
Alright. You know it's going fabulously. My empire. We'll unify Japan very soon. Dude, if I was the Ashikaga Shogunate, I'd be like, I'm so fucked. There's no way you hold on to your grip.
I might actually enjoy fighting this war against Vijayanagar because it's going to, like, the front is going to be limited by its inability to get access and it having to fight in a limited area.
Who has access to Gujarat?
In every war that I have to fight.
Careful, he'll have access to Gujarat, so...
He does. Yeah, Grant. Of course, he's gonna walk through there and then invade me in fucking Bangladesh. Of course.
Dude, just, if you have a larger army, just take all of his shit. That's it. That's what I do. Okay, cool. Oh. These people really are gonna hate me. Where the war is out. Whatever is out. After this war, I will really be very clearly an like the western tip of Honshu and Kyokyu will be still not under my control, but for all practical purposes. Alright, Manchester, you're up.
What's up, pal?
Colonialism, that's on you to develop.
I intend to.
The Renaissance has spread. Now it's on you. Trigger the colonial. Whatever.
I had to do my own renaissance as well. I'm ashamed to admit.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
It takes too long. Unless you're like like neighbors, you gotta do your own.
Night for now, guys.
User disconnected from your channel.
Maybe what makes sense for me to do is actually just start. No. What? No. My king was so young.
Let me guess, he was good.
He was amazing.
Oh yeah. So this is the same story I've heard again
He
and
was
again.
in his 30s. He was in his 30s. And he just died. Fuck. That's some bullshit. He was in his fucking 30s. He was amazing. It was a 4-5-4. Now I have a 0-3-1 Queen Regent into a 1-4-3 hunt. Oh. The 4-5. I abdicated for him. He wasn't a general. Seriously, that must be their form of balancing, where they're like, oh, if you have a good king, he'll just have a much higher mortality modifier. That's how we make it fair.
How do you think the Germans felt when, like, that one emperor died? They got his son, Frederick III.
Yeah. Frederick III, right, was
Yeah.
the one who died, and then his son, the piece of shit, Willem II. Yeah.
Love how you characterize him. It's funny to me.
He was just like a
It's true,
useless,
though. Yeah.
weak man. Frederick III would have really, like, the German Empire would have, like, become the British. It would have become the
Yeah.
British monarchy in a way.
It
Like,
would
it
have,
just would
yeah.
have functioned and survived. And instead, we got Willem II, who was fucking useless.
When is this?
Late 1800s, I want to say. Basically, Willem I, the one who unified Germany, was this conservative piece of shit, right? And
It was all
then,
Bismarck, to be clear.
sure, but I mean, he played along with all of Bismarck's nonsense. And Bismarck's nothing more than a modern Metternich. But so, and then his son, Frederick III, was this like great reformer, and he was very progressive, and his wife was British, and they were gonna do these great things. And the problem was Willem I lived forever, and then
Okay.
Frederick III got throat cancer and like only ruled for 9 months. Then we had Willem II, who had this shitty, limp little arm and was just this stupid. He was like a Trump, really. If you
Yeah,
look at his historical
That's how
profile,
I explain him to my kids. He's basically
Yeah.
Donald Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bit of
Insecure,
a Donald Trump.
Not
Yep,
really a good
Yep.
thinker.
Yep.
Just says shit. Just
Yep.
basically.
But his
Yep.
staff
So
just loves
basically,
to control him.
You
and
had the
sideline
greatest, most vital country with so much potential in all of Europe, and then just led by a completely inept hack.
him. Buffoon.
Buffoon who
yeah.
just drives it into the fucking ground.
Yep.
It just changes the entire, like, all of history if his father
Yep.
just did not die.
If his father did not get throat cancer, or if his father's father had just fucking died earlier instead of living to like
Mm,
91 or whatever the
90,
fuck it
yeah.
was. Yeah. So if Frederick III, we would have had a whole different history. We would have had a very progressive Germany. We would have had today Germany would be like Britain. Like they would have had a monarchy that
World Wars.
survived, so no world wars, no bullshit, no nonsense.
I think
but-
we would have had world wars regardless, actually, but that's a whole different story, I'd say.
Eh.
Yeah. There are. If people want a war, then there is a war.
But that's the thing. If you actually look at the history of the First World War, no one really wanted that war. Like
Yeah.
it was a few egotists.
Yeah. Of course, there were people who wanted the war.
Sure, there were a few egotists, including Willem II, who was also a buffoon who listened to his generals. And otherwise, it was mostly like an accidental over-escalation. Like it was like people talked about ahead of literally like within months of the First World War happening. People were saying, "Look, everyone is doing way too well. The world is financially prosperous. This trade is fantastic. If goods cross
We
borders,
can't have this good. No, we can't.
yeah, if goods don't cross borders, if goods cross borders, the boots won't cross borders, right? That was the expression. And literally, up until the day it happened, there was still a sense of disbelief that it would happen. And if you'd had someone like Wilhelm, like it was close enough. Like I agree that sometimes it is just the case where people just want war and it's going to happen. But this wasn't one of those. This was not the Second World War. This was not one of those cases. This was honestly a case of like it was the razor's edge, and one man who made a difference probably could have averted it. And if by averting it, possibly could have averted the Second World War too. And ergo, everything sucks.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I haven't read enough about the era, but from what I've gathered, the wars on that scale, especially when played on such a, since it was a world war, you can't contain it to just a few rare events, as you say. It's a complex thing, and as such, if the grand if there is to be gained either in financial institutions or other areas of influence, it will be towards that direction. Perhaps not within those 20 or 30 years.
Daroog, shut up and listen to me. You're right.
Yeah.
But the First World War was not that.
Okay, I haven't read enough. Perhaps you're right.
You're right that when there is enough incentive to be gained, etc., it will just happen. Totally agree. First World War was just bad for everyone, and most people didn't really want it. It was a lot of fucking like outdated realpolitik and incompetent people at the helm. Like if you really dig deep into the lead up to the First World War, it was one of these things. It was like a party that got out of hand. Like really, like that's the only way to describe it. Like no one really wanted it, but everyone kind of, for the sake of honor, went along with it, and a few cunts pushed it forward, including Willem II and some of his staff. And really, if you had one or two different guys at the helm in a few different countries, it never would have happened. You probably still would have had the revolution in Russia regardless. It might have taken a little longer, right? So like, I'm not saying that all the impacts would have been gone, but, and the course of history may have been just as brutal, terrible, and different, right? Because maybe we would have had the Second World War anyway, because the economic forces.
Yeah, or something like it at least.
Yeah, sure. But the First World War itself and the lead up to it, that was really not grand. That was not the grand forces of economics and history. That was just a fucking mess. Like really, if you go back and read it, it was so dumb.
I will at some point to do that.
It was the dumbest war. It was a lot of romantic thinking in a not so romantic age. Manchester, do you agree with my statements?
Like I'm thinking of like on the one hand I would agree completely, and on the other, like you can also interpret it differently. Like the fact that they formed these two alliance systems. Actually, well, let's talk about that, because the alliances they formed, right? Britain, France, and Russia against Germany and Austria. Like
and ostensibly Italy.
And true. I agree. But you know, the alignment of France, Britain, and Russia to get like keeping those three under the same roof, that can only be maintained if whoever's in charge of Germany is a loon who keeps threatening them and making outrageous statements, and so they all feel threatened all the time. Like if you just had a sensible person at the helm, which gets back to like the initial point we were really making here, it could have been averted. Yeah.
Well, I think also like
think of how different Russia is from France and Britain, and the fact that they were all antagonistic throughout the entire Victorian era.
But I think that's still a function also of the old body of politic, where it was just an old system. And I think if you had a few more slightly enlightened men at the helm, the end result would have been completely different, right? Like, if you also look to the lead up, right, where it was like, okay, so we're all pretty mad, but like Austria is being a little unreasonable. Now, if you did not have such a bullish, aggressive, vainglorious Kaiser, Austria would not have been as aggressive in their pursuit, right? Because basically, and if you read up on the history, as you go into the lead up to the war, they kind of checked with Germany a bunch. We're like, hey, we're cool to do this, right? And they were like, Willem's like fucking outdated idiot staff was like, we should do this. It's fine. It's cool. And they were like, yeah, go ahead. You know? And like, and then if you look at like Russia's response, but like we're gonna do this, like if you'd had a slightly more intelligent monarch at the helm, again, you would have had a situation where he was like, all right, I'm gonna go to backdoor conversations with Russia.
Well, when
And
he writes the quote unquote blank check to Austria, he literally goes on vacation. He like goes on a ship out to like he wasn't expecting anything to really happen.
No.
Yeah.
So here's the part you're missing.
Who went on a
Wilhelm
vacation?
II.
Yes.
The Kaiser.
Yeah, but his idiots.
Really?
No, but so that's the thing is his idiot staff was, and they tried to sideline him. So if you actually read the history, basically his staff still wanted this war, right? Because his staff were a bunch of these OG cunts who still looked at this like realpolitik and didn't really have an understanding of what modern technology had turned war into. And I think a more progressive monarch would have had a better feel for that, right?
When you say progressive, do you mean more like the Americans, or more?
Well, like,
more like
Friedrich II or third, rather, like the one who would have taken over, someone who was more modern oriented. If you look at the whole world outlook of
like
someone like
socialist, or
I mean, socialist for a monarch is strong speaking, but yes, like more just having a more in tuned sense of where society is at, right? Where the populace is at, what modern communication does, these kinds of things. I think someone who has that kind of outlook would have a better understanding of
let's
the way
get railroads because railroads.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And
let's have health services.
And Wilhelm II was just this. He was dumb. He was sidelined, and his staff was very. And because of his personality of enjoying these kinds of, more traditional quote unquote mindsets, the people he surrounded himself with to run the government also had this similar mindset, and he himself was basically sidelined. So when he wrote the blank check to Austria, yes, he went on vacation because his staff said, go on vacation, it's fine, we'll handle it, right? And he was not competent enough to actually handle anything himself. Like, he was just... Sorry, when you really go deep on the First World War, it's one of the most upsetting things, because it was so stupid.
No, I totally agree. It's the dumbest war.
Like
I think they also didn't realize how retarded it was going to be. They just hadn't had a war in so long. They just didn't.
They didn't.
They didn't realize. Wait a minute, millions of people are gonna die. Hold on a minute, and all our empires are gonna
fall apart,
evaporated, and all these dynasties. Wait, we're the dynasties. We're gonna be gone as well. They did not comprehend what was happening.
No, I totally agree with you there, 100%. But my point more is if you'd had a slightly more intelligent and progressive staff, they would have been able to handle that out, and a slightly progressive king who surrounded himself with a more progressive staff. And I totally agree with all of that. I think the Second World War was inevitable from that, and I think Fuchs said it best when he was at the Treaty of Versailles, said all you're doing is writing the next World War, and I think that's very clear, because the thing was too punitive or not punitive enough. You know what I mean? You either had to go all 100%. The way or less, and it was that middle ground.
They had to either bring Germany back into the international order, or they had to break them up like it was in history, into little pieces. But it just sucked.
It took this middle ground where they basically just made it this non-functioning state. And so in that sense, it was just god-awful. And that is what the Second World War is. The Second World War I actually find less absurd in a way than the First World War. Because the Second World War basically corrected the mistakes they made in the peace of the First World War. But...
yeah, they did split Germany up, so... Yeah.
But the First World War was just so dumb. It was just so fucking god-awful retarded. Actually struggling in this war. What's happening to me? Yeah, it's a very interesting story. If you have time to just read up, I could probably recommend a book at some point on the First World War. I think it is one of the most interesting stories how we ended up there.
Recommend one now?
Yeah, I need to look again. It's been since I've read one, so I need to figure out what it is. But a good one to suggest. But it was just so aberrant. Total exercise in stupidity.
I've read Dostoevsky recently, and one thing that striking is the attitude of a few of the nobles. Not that I think it's reprehensible, but that it's funny to see how they.
Who'd you say?
How they.
Dostoevsky?
Dostoevsky, yeah, the one who wrote Crime and Punishment. I read Karamazov. No, I would say he's the one that wrote the Crime and Punishment. I'm read Karamazov. What's striking is the naivete of the nobles, because 30 years later or something, you do get the revolution as such. So they're living in this boiling, slowly boiling kettle, and because he's such a great writer, you can actually you sort of feel what the characters feel, and that excessive lifestyle and the way they talk about current affairs is completely disjointed from 20 or 30 years later. Completely disjointed.
Can I make a super popular statement?
Yeah?
I hate Dostoevsky.
It's fine. It's
Why
fine
is
to hate
that?
Dostoevsky.
I only read Crime and
religion?
Punishment. No, it's more because just the whole plot is driven by the character being a dumb fucking cunt. Like, when I read the book, everything he did, I was like, why would you do that? Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you so fucking stupid? Sure, but
Like,
it
that's
just
the
drove
point.
me.
That's the point of like half of his books. Is like it's the psychology of like a criminal.
I know, no.
Like he thinks
that's fair.
he thinks he's basically so cerebral he can commit a murder, and like not. Like, I don't know what the word would be, like viscerally.
I think that's
have to deal with the
read Crime and
consequences.
Punishment, but reading Karamazov, which is structured around three young men. These young men are not supposed to be taken as actual exact representations of real men. They're supposed to be taken as stereotypes or ideals or parts of a purer parts of a person. And from what I gather of Raskolnikov,
Right.
he and I've not read Crime and Punishment, but
So
from
his
what I
name,
gather, he is
it literally derives from, I don't know what the word is in Russian, but for schism. And so like the whole point of the book is what's the schism within the character. And then crime, like it's called Crime and Punishment. Like he doesn't actually get punished at all until the very end, but the whole like his punishment is his psychological, like
Descent into madness.
descent into his own whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. I read it like more than 10 years ago, right? But I was very young when I read it, but I just remember reading it and being like, this cunt is so dumb. It just drove me fucking nuts how stupid his fucking decisions were. I was just like, why are you, oh, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, I think you're perhaps reading it too directly. It is written in a different time. You need to remember that it's not written today, where.
Well, again, I read it in a different time, right?
yeah, that too. So, yeah, I can understand why a younger person wouldn't enjoy it. I wouldn't have enjoyed it either.
Maybe I'll try it again.
Only read if you like to read.
What I did enjoy a lot, because I'm not generally like, also I'll concede my taste in literature is fairly trash. Like I enjoy a lot of not great books. But I really enjoyed, from the classics, I really enjoyed Candide by Voltaire.
Oh yeah.
Because it's
Best of all possible worlds.
Yes, it's so bitchy. It's so funny because he's such a cunt through the entire book. It's just the most sarcastic, just like fuck you book I think I've
Mhm.
ever read. Do you know, Daroog, do you know Candide?
I
Mhm.
have not read it, I'm afraid.
So basically, the premise is at the time, right? Optimism was a very popular form of philosophy, and the core premise of optimism is, well, God is omnipotent and God is benevolent. Ergo, this world is the best of all possible worlds. And Voltaire, in just the most sassy, typical Voltaire way, basically rolls up and he's like, okay, let's see what I think about this. And he comes up and he writes this book where he basically, sorry, 2 seconds, okay. Where he basically just puts the main character through just like fucking hell, and the whole time, and the main character's an idiot, and the whole time the character's going, well, God, if this is the best of all possible worlds, how bad could the other worlds be? Oh, and like really like, and he takes everything to the most preposterous circumstance in like this magnificent way, and it's just like characters die and just come back for no reason, and he's in the Great Quake of Lisbon, which is like, you know, the crisis of their time and stuff, and the whole time he's still got this same repeating line of, well, yeah, he's very optimistic. He's like, well, this is the worst of best of all possible worlds, man. It must be really rough out there. And it's just the whole theme through the book, and it's just so bitchy, and it's so funny and satisfying with the context. I really loved Candide. I thought that was such a great book. I don't know, Mantis, you are a better philosopher than I am. You feel free to share your thoughts on that.
I read Candide. I'm trying to think how many years, over 10 years ago, but I just remember that starkly. Yeah.
Yeah,
It didn't really produce that strong an impression on me, but I do remember the theme. I think he wrote it after the Lisbon earthquake,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
everyone at the time was like just all like God this and God thating, and it just pissed him off. So he wrote the book in reaction to the earthquake.
Yeah, no, I think that's accurate. Yeah. I found it very clever. I also think, like, I guess when I read it was also, you know, like, it reminded me in a way of John Stewart, right? Like during just this sort of very overly sarcastic, tongue-in-cheek, just like fuck you to everyone. I guess that was Voltaire, though, right?
That's what he was. I'm in this really annoying situation now in India where it's like I can't attack it. Nepal is a tributary of Ming. Bengal is a tributary of Ming. Malwa is allied with like the 3 big ones. Oh yeah, maybe I could do that. Let's see if I can. It's an idea. Oh no, strategic interest.
Oh, that's just improve your relations with him and a strategic interest change. What about Assam? Tributary of Ming.
And then I can't go south because they're all allied with annoying things. Like 3 or 4, all on different fronts.
Andahar is your boy right there.
It's allied with Gujarat, which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but you can handle the 2 of them together. That's acceptable. Or go Sind, but Sind is a bit obnoxious.
Gujarat just would annoy me because it's like I have to fight on that northern front. I have to fight Andhra and sieges. It's just really irritating.
No, just look here, ready? You build a fort in Sambalpur. Then you declare war on Andhra. You just attack Gujarat, knock him out of the war, and then take Andhra. Then you let him siege your shit, whatever. It'll be fine. That's how I handle these things. It's like I just attack the ally, let my shit get sieged, and then turn around and kill the other one after. They're gonna waste a bunch of time sieging no 4 provinces that you can basically just use to get your siege down. Because no 4 provinces are meaningless. Straight up.
You say that like you're giving me this big revelational. It's like I'm aware how the fort system works. I know.
But I
know
also
that.
know that you're neurotic and you like hate the fact that you have to you have to basically just suck that up. That's why I tell it to you all the time in the same way, is not to tell you like, oh, you have no idea.
Same.
It's because I'm trying to remind you that, you know what, it doesn't actually matter and you should just do it. Well, I've gotten so aggressive even Korea hates me. That's a change.
I do like this tributary system they made. It does work, like the mechanics of the game fairly well.
Better, for sure.
Better, yeah, than not having it.
Trying to imagine. Oh, you can't see Japan. Basically, I own everything less 9 provinces. I'm just trying to imagine, me bowing and scraping to the 2 province shogun. Like, what point do we stop fucking with pretenses anymore? I guess it's Japan, so you never stop fucking with pretenses, right? Because the shogun still pretends that he's subject to the emperor.
Mm-hmm.
I pretend I'm subject to the shogun, and that's the whole ridiculous cycle ad infinitum. Why am I broke again? Oh, that's because of corruption. Fair enough.
So Manchester, I know you think rather strongly about Trump. I noticed, Mac, you do too.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think he's shit.
Yeah. And being from Sweden, I really well, most Swedes actually also think strongly, but I don't read the news, so I don't read all this shit, I guess.
Okay,
So
allow me to
why
enlighten
do
you.
you think so strongly of him, Mac?
He's a fucking
What
idiot.
if you do?
He has no
'Cause he's an idiot.
coherent beliefs or ideas.
Yeah,
He thinks he
of
knows
course,
everything.
Of course he is an idiot.
He's in this
Yeah.
position of tremendous potential and power with which so many great things could be done, but he's completely inept, and the American public is so incompetent and fucking retarded that they've given him this position.
I know what you
Makes
think,
me
Manchester.
sick.
I know. Yeah. It's really it's sort of if you have a public, the public wants shit. Should not the public have shit? That's my opinion of it. But anyway, Mac.
Well, so aside from all the things Manchester said, the fiscal policy is retarded. You shouldn't be lowering taxes during the middle of an economic boom. You should be raising them. And then trying to do that in the super disingenuous Republican way of like, well, now we have to address entitlement spending because we have to be serious about the deficit. It's like, motherfuckers, y'all just cut taxes for it's like, it's nonsensical. Okay, so that's one side of it. Another side of it, and I get mad at the Democrats too, and like, we should raise entitlement spending during economic boom. Like, no, you shouldn't. You should just raise fucking taxes like a normal goddamn person. Like all economic. All right. Anyway, different rant. the other side of it too is the global impact. It's like at the end of the day, this opens up space. I mean, for Germany to rise is fine because Germany is not a bad state in the way they're governed and the way their whole geopolitical outlook is. But it also gives space for Russia, for Turkey. It's like Turkey to invade the fucking Kurds, right? For China to rise up and like say what you will about China. Yeah, oh, they're doing so well. Well, that's great. Okay, maybe. However, their moral leadership is dog shit because they have no morality whatsoever from their government system. And say what you will about the Americans.
They still are a transition government from the communist.
And no, even as a transition government, there's extreme censorship. There's extreme repressiveness from the state. And say what you will about the American system. Having a Enlightenment republic being the leading voice on the global stage is actually a good thing. And losing that moral authority to fucking cunts like Erdogan, who is literally the worst piece of shit. He has the worst traits of Trump and Putin combined, like in the Middle East. Like literally, he went and he invaded the Kurds, and the quote he gave was, "If anyone comes out on the streets, our security forces will be on your neck." Like, what? Fuck. Honest to God.
And the fake coup too.
Yeah, sure, but like just as the most recent thing, right? This was a week ago. Literally, they just started attacking the Kurds, the fucking poor Kurds.
They've done that for a long time, haven't they?
No. This is different. This is now that ISIS is dead. Turkish military forces have gone into Kurdish Syria to attack the Kurds.
Yeah.
This just happened 2 days ago. Okay, and the American-backed Kurds, right? The ones who have an alliance with America. And Erdogan's statement to the people of Turkey was, if you are on the streets, our security forces will be on your neck. There's so much fucked up about this, and the only way this happens is when America cedes the moral authority and the leadership on the global stage because of some dumb piece of shit like Trump. All right, so that is just a very practical, real-world example of why that's problematic. Okay. Also, in terms of the whole dynamics of the Middle East and in Europe too, with Putin, now we can no longer rely on American backing. Now it really comes down to Germany leading this fractured, fucked up coalition that is the EU. And I love the EU, but it's not structured correctly, intelligently, or well.
I think it's structured or well.
Hey, it's not structured or well. It would be.
No, it's not.
It's structured the opposite of Orwell. It's too far. It's the other way, actually. And it also sees space for fucking Russia to feel comfortable to do nonsense in Eastern European elections, to influence Hungary, to influence Poland. It seeds all of this real, genuine moral leadership on the global stage. And say what you will about America and Americans. Yes, they're the worst. It is a terrible country. But at the end of the day, the principles upon which it's founded, the principles which it exposes, the principles of which any developed country should stand behind, which is really the principles of the Enlightenment, which is the principles upon which we all live. And so that's why it's problematic for all of us too. Also, because he's gonna overheat the American economy with this tax cut. He's gonna continue to push more wealth to the rich, and that's going to cause another massive global financial crisis. So these are all of.
But yeah, wouldn't the overheating and poor management of the economy continue with Clinton? So,
I think no, because I also think because the left wing of the Democratic Party has gotten louder and more important. And I think that if you looked at her actual platform as she ran, it moved pretty far to the left because of Bernie. And I think that if you have someone who needs to represent her base, and her base is essentially left-wing to socialist, I think that it changes the way she governs too. And I think it changes the way the Democratic Party governs. And I also don't think you would have had this god-awful fucking tax cut for the ultra-rich, which is just it's literally like taking a fire and just pouring just tons of gasoline on it. It's a shit show. So
I haven't read the tax reform, but what I read.
Shit.
Okay, what I read from the not the actual thing, but a sort of a sneak peek. Didn't mention any tax cuts for the ultra rich, but perhaps that's in it now.
Over the long term, most of the tax cuts will go to the wealthiest.
I mean, in the middle term, even most of the taxes are the rich, wealthiest. But even then, right? Like, there's a bunch of taxes for the rich that have no sunset clause, but all the taxes for the lower middle tax cuts for the lower
That's
middle
what I'm
classes
about,
sunset after 5 or 10
particularly.
years. So, like,
Really?
yeah. So even assuming that it was an equitable tax cut, which it was not. I mean, you know,
So,
Sarah Huckabee.
Let's qualify it. For the Republicans, it was progressive for them. But it was a highly regressive tax.
Compared to the Bush tax cuts, the Bush tax cuts were much more progressive than these. This is fucking George W. Bush. I miss George Bush so fucking much. Like, it was incredibly regressive, even for Republicans. I can't even say it was progressive for them, because if you look at the GW cuts, they were, by comparison, like a fucking pinko wet dream. Like, these are so regressive and fucked up, and all of the benefits they even give to the lower classes are sunsetted. They have sunset clauses, which after 10 years or whatever, 10 years, something like that, 7 years, the Congress has to renew them. But for all the rich tax cuts, they do not. It's like, it's a shit show. It's so fucked up. Sorry, you shouldn't get me started on these topics. I get really angry.
Okay.
I'm angry too, all the time.
It's too.
That's what I'm. That's what I don't understand.
I think
because-
it's I'm
Yeah.
calling it progressive for the Republicans because I just consider them so ethically
You've lost all
abhorrent.
faith.
I've lost all faith in them whatsoever.
Oh.
Like
That's
I
fair.
really consider them like the worst human beings like on the planet.
They pretty much are, so that's fair. Yeah, I'm not even gonna fight that, dude. But like,
I'm like, oh, they gave they gave like a $300 tax cut to the working class. That's so progressive for them. Like, that's the standard. So don't get me wrong. Don't misinterpret. Don't
that's fair,
misconstrue.
that's fair.
I'm not calling them progressive in any way.
They're literally the worst. All of it's the worst. It's all retarded.
should
It's
be
all.
killed. I do actually believe that. I would if there's a revolution tomorrow, which there should be. That's the thing that makes me so upset, is how stupid this fucking public is, while it just continues to get fucked in the ass.
Yeah.
And how
Yeah,
dumb
it is
they
amazing.
just vote in these fucking pieces of shit who don't give a fuck about them, and just vote more and more of the wealth to the rich.
That's a global phenomenon, isn't it? Though.
Well, that's the thing, though.
The
Is
worst
Trump
here, though.
Trump promised to, be a fucking populist. He was like, I'm not gonna raise taxes on the rich. I'm gonna do infrastructure spending. And this was the only reason when he was elected. I did not support him, but when he was elected, I was like, this could be, I mean, he's gonna be a shit show in a lot of ways, but on this, maybe he'll be okay. But he didn't actually give a fuck about that. That was just Bannon
But where's
whispering
the
in his
wall, by
ears.
the way?
He doesn't have any beliefs. Like, and this
No.
is what I called out
Besides
almost
racism.
immediately.
Besides
Like, he has
racism.
no. He's just like, what's his name? Like we were talking about earlier. He has no consistent, like, ideology whatsoever.
No, it's
No, I'd agree with that.
It was like his comment, like, it was amazing. I was thinking about it again today, the shithole comment, right? And literally, think about the countries he picked out. He picked out all of Africa and Haiti, the blackest country outside of
Mhm.
Africa. And he was like, I don't want anyone from those shithole countries, specifically Africa and the blackest place outside of Africa. Please give me more people from Norway. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's literally just
Well, he has a
unadulterated racism.
point, though, hasn't he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't if you look at statistics.
If you have to import people, you'd rather have people with
No, because
with
the
a bit
people.
of wealth and education and stuff.
No, because the people who come from Norway are not the good ones. Because the good ones don't leave fucking Europe because we know better.
Okay, yeah. I think you're overreacting. Actually, I think
No,
it's,
no.
it's
If you look at statistics, the average fucking developing world immigrant often comes with a better work ethic, is more successful, and has better education than a developed immigrant. Because often those guys, they are like fucking guys who go to like the University of Mumbai for 3 masters, and they come here to work at some shitty tech company, right? Like, so the average is actually pretty skewed.
yeah, or India. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like India helps skew China both help skew the average pretty heavily. Where you have a bunch of immigrants from these countries who
Yeah.
literally come for
Yeah,
university.
but Africa isn't India or North China.
Sure, but the actual immigration rate from India is from Africa is fairly low.
Yes.
And
Yeah, it is.
the average Indian or Chinese outperforms the average Norwegian. So why are you hoping for people from Norway? Because they're white. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'd agree, and culturally similar.
But the problem is you're laughing at it like a lot of Europeans, but you forget
Of
is
course.
you forget we're in a globalized world, and I've already outlined.
Yeah, I love it just because of that reason.
I've already outlined how the dumb cunts in America are fucking all of us already, and they will continue to fuck all of us.
Yeah, they will. But my point is that the fucking would have continued regardless of Trump. Consider his show a better show than Clinton's.
No, see, this is the stupid false equivalency that you and Sid make, and it's fucking nonsense. It's not the same. It's just not the same. Obama is better than Trump. Full stop. Was better than Trump. Yes, 100%.
I don't agree.
Well, that's because you're.
I think Trump is a lot more fun, and that is my standard for judging. Actually,
More fun. But
Jesus Christ. What do you do
this is
for
why I hate democracy.
Me too. I totally agree with you, by the way.
yeah, I agree.
No, you don't. You're part of the reason we hate democracy. Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
No. Shut the fuck up. You do not get to side with us in this one. Your dumb cunt statements both made us lament democracy. Then you don't get to be like, yeah, I'm on your team. No, you're the reason we hate you. The system. All the things. No, you do not get to be on our team on this. You're on the other side.
Bear in mind, I'm no Trump supporter. I just find him fun.
No, but what you said there, you said, well, I think Obama's no better, but I find Trump more fun. This is why Manchester and I hate democracy and why you are the problem. And so you don't get to come, don't speak. You don't get to come to our side of the fence on this. You are on the other side and we are looking and judging you.
Okay. Right. Well, where were we?
Why you're wrong and dumb. That's where we were.
Right.
We could change the subject
no,
now,
I disagree.
but that's where we were.
That's where we are.
Manchester's politely not saying anything, but he fundamentally agrees with everything I just said.
Thank you, Manchester.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah, but I think Sid is in the right. He has a healthy
Sid
perspective.
doesn't know what he fucking believes. I had a
He's
long
not in the
conversation
right.
with him like 2 weeks ago. I tried to get him to formulate a coherent belief system, and he just kept making little hipster comments to me.
That's exactly what I would do too.
Whenever I try to have like a serious conversation with him, he just fucking like I don't like. How can I explain how he converses?
He's an idiot.
Well, he links to 4chan and such, so.
He's an idiot. That's it. It's how he was a brony because of 4chan, and now he's whatever the fuck you call what he is now because of 4chan. And that's all the story is. There's no more story here. This is the full. This is the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. It's just he's an idiot. He used to not be. It's sad that the working class, that the economic system has made someone who's fairly intelligent into such a dumb piece of shit. But it is what it is.
I think it's going a bit too far.
It's not
calling someone who doesn't agree with you dumb just because of the opinions.
No, I'm calling him dumb because he believes in Pizzagate.
Pizzagate.
The fucking idea that some random guy was running a child molestation ring in some pizza shop because 4chan went off on it. I'm calling him dumb
Pizzagate.
because
Yeah,
he can't.
yeah.
I'm calling him dumb because he can't actually articulate a position. I'm calling him dumb because he just regurgitates whatever dumb fucking meme he sees on 4chan. These are the reasons I'm calling him dumb. It's not because he disagrees with me. It's because he can't articulate a reason to disagree with me beyond like, well, she's shrill. Yeah, he talks about fucking, like, he's like, well, Trump's better than that shrill bitch Hillary. And I'm like, what is shrill? But I've never heard her be shrill, but even assuming she is shrill, that's not a governance stance. So what the fuck is the problem? So no, he is dumb. On this, he is dumb. Full stop. I've never heard him articulate one decent argument as to why he believes in Brexit or why he believes in any of the dumb fucking shit he talks about. So yes, he is dumb. And don't challenge me on that unless you can come. You can give me some
I don't know what he said, but I've chatted a bit with him, and he's linked some funny memes, I must say.
You're dumb too, then, if that's compelling.
I think it's compelling.
God, I fucking. What? This affects you personally. You know, it's like you don't understand that. Neither does he.
You shouldn't get mad at these two though. Like, and this should be one of the takeaways. Like, because like the real stupid people like are in this country. Like, it's not them, it's the people here.
No,
like
you don't. England
like
too. Brexit. No, England does not get off for fucking Brexit. That was pure racist, backward ass decision making. They do not get off for Brexit. Full stop.
But wasn't it based on mostly Polish stuff? They didn't want the Polish workers and stuff.
I'm perfectly racist against the Polish too. I'm not going to vote to leave the EU.
Okay.
It was. Yes, fine. I can get mad at the people who manipulate the ignorant public, and who did the fact that, you know, because people are getting informed, they like mold that to shape their personal agendas. I can get mad at them, yes, but at the end of the day, democracy is a civic responsibility to have an understanding of the way the state is governed because you have a hand in it. And if you are not fulfilling her obligation, you are making yourself susceptible to the whims of the fucking elite and the ruling class. And given the fact that knowledge is so fundamentally available at this time in our history, there is no excuse to not be educated, informed, and to be able to make sense of the situation. And therefore,
there are many good justifications for that. Actually, we shouldn't be too narrow-minded there. Not everyone lives a life of excess time and proper upbringing. That's proper upbringing. Not everyone can take in information, especially not complex information in those quantities.
Sure, and that's partially on the state to do a better job of educating.
That's it. That's on the individuals. Some people just can't do it. Most people just can't. They remember, instead of actually learning arithmetic, they remember arithmetic. Instead of learning a language, they remember a language, and then they repeat remembered phrases. And remember the effects of them. They have no idea about etymology and such, and no interest in it, and that's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine because that's not what they're supposed to do. That's
fine.
Things.
But if those people are to have a voice in government, then they have an obligation to understand the basics of what they're voting for.
You see why I don't care? Why should I care about something that is set up to fail? And say for instance.
No, that is a bullshit cop-out statement.
No, it's not
set up to fail.
No.
It's specifically set out to...
It is set up to fail.
No, that's fucking nonsense. You have no way to justify that. Go ahead, justify it. Why is it set up to fail?
Democracy.
That's not a justification. That's you saying a word. Why is it set up to fail?
No, I asked the democracy or the universal vote. Yeah, because of what we have. Because of what we have discussed, you get an ignorant populace, and then you have
what is the
at the moment a large array of media outlets that are controlled by a very narrow span of ideological, what would you call them?
But that's not set up to...
sources, and then you can easily manipulate, well, fairly easily, so fairly straightforwardly manipulate consensus of things.
But that's
and,
not...
and then you won't base it on what you intended with democracy, because one of the fundamental parts of democracy is that the idea that every person has a, for lack of a better word, a divine element, a way of seeing the truth. Every person
I would just say
has hold on, has a in Zelda terms, a lens of truth.
I would just say an obligation to be involved.
No. Every person has every person has the ability to see the world for what it is, and that person's opinion is important. That's why it's a universal vote, and this goes for everyone. And of course, that isn't the case. If you just walk out, you see that people are not wise, and people do not see, and people will not be wise and will not see, and have never been wise in large numbers, and have never seen. And if you base a system on that, it is destined to fail. That's my point. And Trump is just one version. Putin, if they even have elections, is another. And Erdogan is another. And
sure, but what do you have with Teddy Roosevelt or FDR or even, I mean, I don't love Angela Merkel, but these days even Angela Merkel or fucking what's his name? Some of the old German guys.
If you take the time before the quick communications, you didn't have as quick ways of communicating. The time and effect something had was very low in comparison to other forces, such as in smaller cultures, local forces. I'd call them grassroots local forces, grassroots cultural local forces, had a greater relative effect. Right now, you have no such effect. Right now, you have global effect at Twitter speed.
I would agree and disagree. I think that on the one hand, sure, you're right, that maybe that you had more slower and limited influences on your opinion.
I'm not saying it's preferable. I'm just saying that's how it is.
No, and I'm challenging that's how it is. That on the one hand, I agree. On the other hand, you also have a much greater wealth of information, and then it becomes an impetus. The impetus in the citizen becomes different, right? Rather than having an impetus on having your lens of truth cultivated by your community, it's having your lens of truth cultivated by media literacy. And if the citizen chooses to check out, sorry, hold on.
If the citizen chooses to check out,
that's still, I don't think that means the system is set up to fail. I just think that's a failure on the part of the citizen.
And that's why you become hateful.
No, I become monarchist.
Yeah.
Because I've decided the citizen is too useless to make their own goddamn decisions.
Yeah, that's totalitarian.
Yeah, but I wouldn't actually vote for a totalitarian state. I just want better education. I want better anti-corruption rules. I want PACs gone. I want limited campaign funding. I want better media literacy education in public schools. I want more funding for public schools, because I don't want to have everyone agree with me, but I want to have everyone operate under the same understanding of reality, and the understanding of reality that is based in facts and all of the fundamental principles on which our modern society is built. Not on what feels right? Not on that I do this because it feels right. Oh, I listen to this because it fits my narrative. No, I want people to actually be able to look at the media landscape around them, be able to interpret, understand facts, be able to fact check, to be able to provide.
They have that already.
Yeah, and yet no one listens to it because there's a whole fucking class of people who don't actually bother to try that. And I'm not saying all people who disagree with me are like that. There are still out
like
there.
99% of people.
No, I would still say there are still out there Republicans who I fundamentally disagree with on policy matters, who are actual functioning human beings, and they have a body of literature that supports their point, right? Or even economic conservatives in general. There is a body of literature that supports their point, but they operate in the same functional reality as I do. But there's too many people who have succumbed to the same fucking media narrative, this right-wing bullshit that's completely fabricated and abstracted and nonsensical.
Yeah. We have the mirror here in Europe.
Sure.
With what you consider to be the mainstream bullshit right-wing propaganda. We have the mirror here in Sweden and Europe.
What are you talking about, Der Spiegel?
Except it's left-wing.
I disagree with that though.
Two sides of the same coin.
I disagree with that though. Just because overall
it's a march to death, left, right.
No, it's not. That's no. See, again, you're creating false equivalencies, and then you're trying to distill the whole system down into some kind of.
No, I'm just giving images. My point is true, regardless of my.
Your point is incorrect, though. It's not all the same.
So my point was that I observe a bullshit narrative, which in the case of Sweden and Europe is left wing.
So I live in Europe too. So explain to me what the bullshit narrative that you're seeing that's left wing is. Explain to me what it is and why it's bullshit.
In Sweden.
Sure. Do you know Sweden specifically better? You're saying Europe, which I think is already a bit of a reach and a generalization. But let's go for you, Sweden specifically.
Northern Europe. I'd say.
Do you consider the Netherlands Northern Europe?
Yeah, I would probably.
Okay, so tell me why in the Netherlands there's a bullshit left-wing narrative that doesn't hold up. So stick to what you know, Sweden, because I know the Netherlands. I'm Dutch. I can speak Dutch. I read Dutch media.
It's. I think the worst part is in the education system.
Okay, how do you figure?
It's first of all that. The education system is mandatory. You cannot do anything to keep your child out of it.
That's good. Continue.
And the directives that the teachers have.
Sure.
So if you disregard the curriculum,
okay.
The directives that the teachers have, and I have been a teacher, so I've had these given to me.
So let's go specifically then. All right. So you've been a teacher. You've had the curriculum. What specifically in the curriculum did you not like that you felt was incorrect and that was propaganda by the left wing?
Well, it's not propaganda. It's a way of okay. You want a piece of propaganda.
Or indoctrination, or whatever you object to. You're saying specifically there's something you object to that's left-wing driven in the curriculum.
Yeah, one thing that's very okay. I'll continue the teacher point then.
Yeah, so it's an example.
So the directive you have is, as a teacher, to keep all the children at the same level.
Sure.
So the ones you have at the bottom.
Sure.
Are supposed to be pushed up. The ones at the top should sit quietly.
Sure. What's the alternative?
One alternative could be give the ones at the top attention, or one alternative could be not having the school at all, or one alternative could be getting rid of the ones at the bottom, or spending time at the ones in the middle.
So do you not have in Sweden, going back, in Sweden, do you not have a placement system when they're around 10, 11, 12?
No.
So everyone goes to the same school till they're 18?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a bit shit. It's like the US. I would disagree with some of your alternatives, which is getting rid of the children at the bottom. I guess that's what I'm suggesting, is doing the placement system like you have in
Yeah.
Germany and Netherlands, which I actually am an advocate of and I think makes a lot of sense. But the other one of not having school at all makes no sense. What? Because
That depends on what the goal is.
to create a educated, functioning, media literate, and able to join the workforce populace?
Then I would highly recommend the children not to go to school.
Why?
They learn that regardless.
They clearly don't, as we can look in the use case of the United States.
Don't they have school?
They do, but there's much less rigorous enforcement of attendance. There's much worse education platforms. There's almost neglect in some cases. There's high schools where half the classes they have to take are study halls because they're underfunded. And you
Yeah.
can still do homeschool. It's much more flexible with homeschooling than Europe, and with religious schooling and with all that shit. But there's a much more, what the fuck?
So my point there is that it's at its core a totalitarian type of mindset.
That's
Isn't
a
it?
red herring.
No, it's not.
It is. You're creating. You're
Not asking
creating.
the parents whether or not they want their children taken away for 7 hours a day.
No, it's such a.
That's not a red herring, is it? That's
such.
we
fucking
take your children and then we do what we want with
bullshit.
them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the role of the state to create functioning fucking adults in the society.
I think that's the parents.
Yeah, but have we not
Duty.
noticed that humans are not up to that task all the time? And also, parents don't have the necessary and prerequisite knowledge to necessarily educate their children
Yeah,
correctly.
and that's a matter of opinion. And my
No, it's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of fact. Look at the average fucking education and IQ of the average person.
Hold on, it's a matter of opinion.
Right now,
and,
you right
and
now.
that
teach,
is
no,
a
no,
highly
no, 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 no.
left-wing
I'm finishing.
point of view, isn't
I'm
it?
finishing a statement. You tell me how to derive something. Teach me calculus right now. Can you do that? Can you
Yes.
tell? You can teach me calculus right now.
Yeah, I could.
Could the average Swede teach me calculus?
Of course not.
Okay. Is calculus useful if you want to have a successful career in a lot of different fields?
No.
Yes. Yes, it is.
It depends on what you mean with a lot, but relatively no.
Accounting, banking, finance, both anything that deals with complex numbers, engineering,
Of course.
any kind of sciences. It's all useful across the
of
board.
course.
But
Calculus
so
is
you
fairly-
feel as though the parent has the right to deny their children of that knowledge and that exposure. You feel that is the right of the parent to
Of course,
impose
of
that
course.
upon the child.
Yeah.
That is not that is fundamentally totalitarian in favor of the parent, not in favor of the child. You are denying children of their
And that's
specific
an
educations.
individualism.
The
Having-
individual
having
is an
the,
idiot. Have you not noticed that? Have you looked at Trump? The individual is a fucking idiot. Why are you trusting the individual? We've seen this over and over. Fuck the individual.
Yeah, and this is my point.
Sure,
We have arrived at my point.
sure. And what is your point?
My point is that it's left-wing collectivist totalitarianism.
No, your point is that you have a certain libertarian streak that feels good but has no real justifiable grounds in terms of benefit of society. The only thing that you're
I don't optimize for benefit for society.
No, the thing you harp upon is just this general sense of like, well, my freedom, but there's no the
No.
end result of my freedom is fucking bullshit. Is Trump is the end result of my freedom.
Well,
No, that's the end result of my freedom.
I love how you just fucking take all libertarian philosophy and summarize it in a fucking phrase.
hate
It's true though.
libertarianism.
I do. I hate
It's
it as
all
well.
just like
It's
it's all just
funny.
like it feels right
My
to
freedom.
me. It's my right. It's my freedom. It's my freedom. I'm like, but what are the substantial benefits you're demonstrating out of this policy? And they're
That's
like,
cute.
my
That's cute.
freedom.
well, the thing with
Oh, they're so
having a
influential.
strong
though.
individual and
So
and
many
what
fucking
what
libertarian-
what
so much
America is
libertarian
founded on
shit.
from the start.
Everywhere.
Well, if you want a functioning, so what you want is a society with, from what I understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure, I probably will.
Good.
What
you
do I
want,
want?
You want a society where every person, and this is what you're disappointed at, every person should be able to view policies and politicians with from a firm rock, or from a foundation of education or an understanding of the world, especially the political one.
Yes, actually, that's pretty accurate. But not just especially, also in the ability to do basic and
Yeah.
complex maths, to understand history,
Yeah.
to have context on society.
And
Yes.
for that, what you want is a strong person, isn't it? Every such person is strong in and of itself. It has been able
I
to
don't know
learn.
if I agree with that. I think I want a system that enables people to function and participate in a democracy effectively. But I don't know if I
Yeah.
want a strong person. I don't want like a bunch of mini tyrants running around. just to clarify.
No, of course not. Of course not. And that's also what the founding fathers thought, from what I understand. I haven't read all the founding philosophy.
The founding fathers want a couple select rich white men to be able to run the society. But sure, yeah.
Anyway, they too held the strong individual fairly close at heart, I'd say. Especially with the Second Amendment and such.
But the second, you've already run into very, very dangerous grounds, because the Second Amendment did not mean what the Second Amendment means today until the 1970s. If you've actually read the Second Amendment, what it specifically says, a well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary for the maintenance of a maintenance for the I forget what it is, a well-regulated militia, comma, something for the state, comma, the right of the individual to bear arms, comma, completely unnecessary and confusing, comma, shall not be infringed. So that actual amendment can be read perhaps in the way that it's been read since the 1970s, which is the individual's right to bear arms, but it could also very reasonably be read, and how it was read previously, right, prior to the 1970s, as simply the state shall not infringe, the federal government should not infringe on the state's rights to run their own militias. So that is not as clear as you immediately jumped there. So
a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state.
Okay, yeah, so that's basically where it was. Bear
the
arms,
right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not
comma,
be
wait, comma, you
shall
don't
not
forget
be
the commas, comma shall not be infringed. The commas make no sense, the punctuation is super fucked up, the whole amendment is super weird. And honestly, if you look at the history of the interpretation of the amendment, that being an individual's right to bear arms had not been interpreted that way until the 1970s with the Supreme Court case involving, interestingly enough, the Black motherfucking Panthers. Prior to that, it had not been used as a universal and individualistic right to bear arms. And it was only up until after that point that it became interpreted that way. And if you read it again, the commas are super fucking weird. Read it again. The commas are super fucking weird. They don't actually make sense. They confuse the subject with the unnecessary amount of commas.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, it's a weird fucking thing. It's actually not that clear. It's one of those things that people always assumed, well, it's always just been the right of people to bear arms. But then if you actually dig deeper now and you go into the history of the Second Amendment, look for the Supreme Court case. I need to find the name of it again. It's one of the guys from the Black Panther versus the city or state, where basically he said, hey, this means I have the right as a person to bear arms no matter what, essentially. And
then you have the Jefferson version, which is the ratified one, which only has one comma.
Well, the ratified one is the one that would be in the Constitution. That's by definition
okay,
why
let's
ratified.
see. You have the handwritten copy of the proposal for the Bill of Rights, 1789.
Sure.
Later. That would later be edited and ratified as the Second Amendment. So the one you read now was the unratified one. The ratified one is this. and it only has one
The
comma.
ratified one would be the one that would be in the Constitution. And the one that would be in the Constitution has 3 commas. It's also the one that's been submitted to the Supreme Court of the United States. So don't try and front and act like there's a different version that's been submitted to the Supreme Court of the United States or is incorporated in the Constitution. Because if it was ratified, then it was incorporated. And
There
if
it
it was
is.
incorporated, so where did this 3 comma version come from then?
Handwritten copy of the proposed.
Whatever is in the
Oh no,
Constitution.
no, let's see. Oh, I've perhaps read the wrong thing. That's
Anything that's in the Constitution is in the Constitution.
one version.
Here we go. What is it? Is it McDonald versus? No, it's previous. Let's see.
It's with the.
Is it
the-
Columbia versus Heller? Is that the one?
Here is the amendment as specified by the state.
That might be Columbia Heller. No, that's too recent. What is the one?
Okay, so you have the Bill of Rights, and then you have the Constitution. Are they different things?
Is it Presto versus Illinois? This is the one. No, this is earlier.
Here is the amendment as ratified by the states and authenticated by Thomas Jefferson, Secretary of State. And it says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state,
comma, the right
the right
of
of the people to keep and
carry
bear
their
arms shall
arms,
not be infringed.
No, the one, here we go.
No, there is no comma there. But anyway, my
No, what it matters, you can't fuck with the commas
my
there.
point being that regardless of I just gave it as an example, but clearly from the founding fathers, the founding of the republic, you have at its core capable and strong citizens. Do you not?
Sure, you could also argue that
Quite
no,
free citizens too.
this is a simplistic, again, this is a
Quite free, right?
This is a simplistic interpretation again, because if you look at the way Hamilton would have looked at the Constitution versus the way Jefferson would have looked at the Constitution, Hamilton would have had a much more collectivist perspective on the Constitution rather than Jefferson. That's part of why the Federalist Papers exist. Now, those are already considered more individualistic than where we ended up today. You also have to keep in mind that the society that they lived in when they developed it was also very different from where we are today. But
Yeah,
even
and
in the
that's
whole
sort of my point.
construction,
That is sort of my point, isn't it? That you have a different base of individual. Right now, we have a base individual that is weak and like cattle. That's what we have today. We have cattle.
Cluster.
oh,
Buddy.
sorry.
No?
I should go to sleep. But
Yeah, we're gonna end here.
yeah, but honestly, the average individual today is got more information than the average individual in Jefferson's time. It's probably